Hello and welcome. This is the Cybersecurity and Information Systems Information Analysis Center, or CSIAC, and today we are revisiting previously popular CS Digest topics and providing an update. When any technology proliferates to the point of widespread use and integrates with daily life, it will inevitably become a target for malicious actors. Mobile devices have certainly matured to this point, and this is reflected in the near constant reports of new mobile malware, new mobile infections, new ways and reasons the devices are being compromised, and often on the scale of millions of devices worldwide. Many of our recent CS Digest articles focus on the state of mobile security, and these topics are becoming increasingly relevant as our culture continues to rely on what the technology has to offer. However, reliance on these devices has made us vulnerable in many new ways. Thanks to the age of the internet and the modern desktop, malicious actors have hit the ground running in regards to mobile devices. New attack vectors are constantly being developed, and this requires both mobile device manufacturers and end users to become increasingly agile to combat the threat. In just a few short years, we've seen how mobile attacks used to focus on a single attacker exploiting a vulnerability and compromising a single device at a time, to utilizing the various forms of communication inherent in a mobile device to distribute attacks on a much larger scale. Nearly every major security company releases annual state-of-the-industry style reports highlighting the details of this mobile attack evolution. Admittedly, many of these attacks are just a new take on an old technique, but because mobile devices continue to expand the range of inherent technology and are constantly offering new features for the end users, attackers always seem to have a new exploitable technology where they can apply an old trick. One of the most common attack techniques that still proves very effective at compromising devices is distributing infected apps through the legitimate app stores. The idea of infecting a piece of software and then trying to distribute the software is an old technique for attackers. The difference with mobile is the quantity of apps users install on their devices. As the saying goes, there's an app for that, but there was no promise that that app would also be secure. Also, users often inherently trust the official Apple or Android store, but don't make the connection that it was someone else who created the app. In recent years, companies have invested in security screening services, but a savvy attacker can still bypass the filters. Combine this attack technique with the release of a super popular app, Pokemon Go for example, and we start to understand why attackers are increasingly targeting mobile devices. This attack technique has proven very effective on both major mobile platforms, iOS and Android, and all users need to be security conscious when dealing with apps. Another major mobile-specific attack vector is SMS Messaging. This standard feature of mobile devices creates not only another technology for attackers to exploit, but also provides a direct line of communication from the attacker to the victim. This means that attackers can try to compromise the SMS technology directly, or try to fool the unsuspecting users, usually by getting them to click on a link or download an attachment. Many users, curiosity gets the best of them, and they just can't help themselves from clicking on that blue link. Recently, one of the most sophisticated pieces of malware was discovered, and attackers were using this very technique of sending links to malicious sites in a text message. The spyware was called Pegasus, targeting 3 zero-day exploits in iOS, starting with a vulnerability in the Safari browser and ending in a complete takeover of the phone with virtually no indication to the user that they had been compromised, all by simply visiting a bad website. The Pegasus spyware then enabled the attackers to access every important aspect of the phone, including voice, text data, email, calendar, Skype, Facebook, and many other services. Apple has since released a patch for these exploits, and as always, users are advised to update their phone to the latest version to avoid being vulnerable. So what is the goal of the attackers? What are they after? Well, the traditional motivations of money, bank account and social media logins, PII, and user data are still the primary end goals, but the middle step between making malware and profit can be a bit of a mobile twist. Ransomware has been one of the fastest growing attack techniques in recent years, and mobile devices are no exception. Also, because so much of our personal lives have converged into one central device in our pocket, attackers realize how profitable it can be to target the platform. Some different malicious styles have included using malware to generate user clicks or searches for a legitimate business or service. One of the most recent large-scale infections sent requests as if the user had clicked on an advertisement, which generated ad revenue for a company. Other similar attack campaigns have downloaded legitimate apps for the user, again making the app seem more popular and generate revenue, or skewing search results by sending lots of search requests for a product, making it seem more popular to search engines. Many products and services rely on these basic advertisement and search services to be successful. There is a lot of potential for attackers to profit by creating this otherwise harmless activity. A final interesting technique we'll explore focuses again on how mobile devices are the convergence of multiple services. Attackers have used malware to carry out an attack, such as trying to steal your information and money from your bank account, and then also stop you from using that same device from calling your bank and addressing the problem. In recent years, we have seen how attackers have committed denial of service attacks against large organizations to make them blind to another attack. But when we consider how this applies to mobile security, this is in some ways easier for the attacker since everything is happening from the same physical device. If an attacker can compromise your smartphone to the point of logging into your accounts, then they can likely use those same permissions to mess with your SMS notifications, your mobile data, Wi-Fi, and calling capabilities as well. So if mobile devices are going to continue to be targeted by malicious actors, what can the average business or user do to maintain an acceptable level of security? Numerous resources are available that highlight fundamental security practices as an effective means of keeping a mobile device secure. Considering mobile devices are at their core just computers in our pocket, of course the fundamentals apply, and too often users change mentalities in a bad way when it comes to mobile usage. For example, if a user was at work on their computer browsing the internet and going through their email, there are many links and pop-ups and free programs that they would never interact with. But that sound security behavior changes when a user sees a link in a text or offer for a free app. Fundamental security actions and behaviors, in addition to keeping software up to date, using ad blockers, researching free programs prior to installation, and using antivirus software, goes a long way to keep mobile platforms secure. Another pillar of cybersecurity that can be applied to mobile security is the idea of least privilege. Organizations manage the authority of both their users and their applications to reduce both the likelihood as well as the impact of an attack. In practice, this is when professionals avoid operating as the administrator or as the root user unless it is absolutely necessary. When applied to mobile security, apps always require permissions to access and utilize the device's various resources, and this step shouldn't be taken lightly. For example, the original version of Pokemon Go required full access to the Google account, and if it wanted to, could access anything associated with that account, all in the name of catching Pokemon. Now, to be clear, no one is accusing Pokemon of accessing your email or your Google Drive, and the app has since done the right thing and restricted the resources it has access to. But it does go to show how privilege management is very important in a security world of endless apps. The bad news for users is that not every version is capable of individual app permission management. For example, newest versions of Android does allow for individual permission management, but this does come at the risk of causing apps to no longer function as originally intended. iOS has simplified its permission management system and streamlined it for an ideal user experience. iOS allows users to individually manage permissions, but it doesn't give as much detail and control that the newest version of Android 6 allows. Regardless, both major platforms are moving in the right direction for permission management. Granting an app permission should not be taken lightly as just clicking another box. Users really need to consider, do I really want to give this free flashlight app access to my contacts list or my Wi-Fi and data connection? Or maybe I'll search for a different app. A final consideration for improving a user's mobile security posture is disabling services when not in use. Directed, targeted attacks take advantage of the fact that everyone leaves their Wi-Fi, their Bluetooth, NFC, location, and all these other amazing mobile services turned on even when their device is not in use. Man-in-the-middle attacks are often made possible because a user left their Wi-Fi on even when they were out in public. Everyone loves how they can just pull their device out of their pocket and everything automatically works. But in a world of growing security concerns, taking that 2 seconds to enable and disable a service can go a long way to preventing a compromise. Found here is a list of all our sources. If you would like additional information on this topic, or you would like the CSI Act to follow up on a specific topic, feel free to contact us with your suggestions. Please direct all feedback and suggestions to www.csiact.org/discussion/digest-suggestions. Thank you for your time and enjoy your day.